Welcome back into Exit 99 Sports. As always, my name is Caleb Deloach, and today, welcome on a very special guest. It is Christian Cavaness. Christian, thank you for joining me.
Oh, man, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. I've been watching some of the podcast on Facebook and everything, and glad you asked me to join, and glad we can make something work.
Yeah, man, for sure. Christian, as a lot of you guys know, is, an Aces travel baseball coach and also an assistant at Notre Dame this past year, and a lot of baseball, Christian, always in your calendar, it seems like.
Yeah, I don't know if there's ever really much time that there's not baseball going on.
Yeah.
But when you do love it, like I do, sometimes it does get a lot. But I would rather be doing that than anything else I could possibly be doing. So it makes it a little bit more enjoyable when it is something that you've done your entire life and actually want to do it. So.
Yeah. That does make it a little bit easier to do it day after day, like you said.
Yep.
So, one main reason we got you here today, you guys are now, the Aces, your club. You guys are kind of undergoing a new transition here. You guys are now becoming part of USA Prime Baseball Club. So, can you kind of explain what that means, what all that kind of looks like for you guys?
So actually, I think it was maybe 2.5 weeks ago, got a message from somebody with USA Prime. I've heard of them. We've played them a couple times before in years past and everything. And it's a national organization for baseball. They also have softball as well, but mainly the baseball side of things is what they kind of promote, and they're kind of out there and known for more than anything. But talked to a guy on the phone on the way up to our Evansville tournament a couple weeks ago, and got a FaceTime Zoom call interview with some of the people there. And they kind of said all the things that, like, I feel like if we were to make a move like this, I would need to hear without kind of asking. Right. And then if I had to be like, okay, hey, is this going to change? This going to change? And they were like, oh yeah, that won't change or whatever, just to kind of make it almost feel like that's what I needed to hear. Mm-hmm. They kind of hit on a lot of things there that were big points for me. Then scheduled another meeting with them about a week and a half later, talked to a lot of people within the organization. And I think where we're at with the Aces baseball program and organization, we're just about maxed out. We may have a little bit more room to grow as far as reach for in the area and everything. But the move to USA Prime, it just kind of it kind of helps us expedite that process and allow us to be able to give some of those things that we hope to have in the future. If we were to just stay Aces baseball, it allows us to get those kids that are in the program now to reap some of those benefits. So it was kind of It was a tough thing just because, the past 5 years we've built this from scratch, and it is going in a good direction and everything there. It's just this direction is going to allow us to kind of those little boost pads on Mario Kart. It's kind of just going to allow us to go a little bit faster in that direction.
Love that.
And that's something that it was pretty easy decision for me once I talked to the right people that I knew I needed to talk to and get their opinion, because one of the things that we try to do is a lot of the people matter in our organization. Not just coaches, but players, families, and people that have been here for the past 4 years, 5 years. I think we have 2 families that have been here since the very beginning. They're on the 18U right now. Mm-hmm. And then we have a lot of other families that have been here for the past 3 years, maybe 4 years, and their opinions on this stuff kind of matter to me as well. And once they were like, no, I think that would be a great move, it was kind of, all right, we've got to do this because I want these kids and I want these families to have the best opportunities for their kids to play after high school if they want, to be the best high school player that they want, whatever their goals are. I think this move kind of helps us get us there a little bit quicker.
Yeah. And so this, USA, they're a, national brand. Yep. They have teams kind of all over the country. And so this is kind of what the model is, partnering with, more local groups like you guys, and then, giving you kind of more resources to help
correct.
exceed.
Yeah. They, so there's each organization is kind of separate from each other, but still under one umbrella. There's a organization in Branson area or Springfield area. There's one in St. Louis, and then we're really like that area where there's nothing in Arkansas. There's really nothing in close Mississippi area. Same thing with Tennessee, Illinois, and Kentucky. So we're kind of like in that. I kind of call it no man's land, but it's not a negative no man's land. It's there's a lot. Like if anybody wants to play within, I'd say probably a 3-hour radius, 4-hour radius, like we're the closest team to them. So the hope is that, we'll get a lot of kids that, want to wear the USA on their chest or kind of just be a part of that somehow. And they've done a great job of helping me kind of make that transition, taking a lot of the load off of my plate, especially with our state tournament, our still our season still going on. They've been great with that, so it's going to be something I think that's going to be a positive for not only next year but years to come. Yeah,
that's really cool. And I assume part of they have like camps and stuff like that of their own, and then other like tournaments that they kind of run and manage.
Correct.
Too.
Yeah, they have a partnership with Perfect Game and PBR tournaments, which I think the closest one to us PBR wise might be Millington or Kansas City. But they have partnerships with them. They did say they're going to roll out some showcase stuff, some camp stuff this coming year. They're still kind of in a growing phase as well, and they're kind of adding stuff every single year to their platform of what they're able to offer everybody. So, I think the more that they kind of get spread out across the country, it's just going to make things a lot easier where there can be maybe a little bit more centrally located camps, showcases, things maybe specifically for USA Prime kids only. They may, reach out to, any kids that are available, anything like that. But yeah, they're really kind of rapidly growing here, and I'm excited to be a part of that process and kind of help what their goal is with everything too. So
that's really cool. That's cool. You guys keep growing. We'll talk more about the Aces here for you guys, what you guys have been doing. But actually, that's where we'll go back here. So we'll get that. We talked about that here. That's what I wanted to start with. But then we're going to talk about you a little bit. See, then like kind of grow to this point now where you're at here, where you guys are. So you yourself, obviously, very heavily involved in baseball personally. Throughout your entire life, you were 2012 graduate from Cape Central. Yep. Football, baseball, was that kind of your life pretty much from your childhood up through high school?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, once I kind of started playing at a very young age, 4, 5, 6 years old, whatever age, I kind of started playing all the sports. My dad, we were at the park all the time. I really wanted to do that. Like once I found out that hey, I can play sports as a job, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like I don't want to do anything else. And and lucky for me, I was able to do that at one point in my life with baseball. But yeah, I mean, literally my entire life, probably, especially once school sports started, junior high, I think was when we had 8th grade football only. Now they have 7th and 8th grade football. They're starting to get some middle school sports around the area as well. But about 7th, 8th grade, whenever school sports kind of started for me, that was really kind of when it's like, all right, this is all I really want to do. And it was football, baseball for me. I stopped playing basketball. Didn't like all the running. I know I'm like, yeah, go play football. Like, you're still a bunch of running, but at least, you have 35 seconds between each run. But
run and stop.
Yeah, exactly. But I wasn't very good at the long distance running, just more of the short, quick sprints. But yeah, so that was kind of my goal for my entire life, really. And, my mom and dad, they really kind of helped push me to that as well, where, I would have some time off, between sports and everything. But, as a season was getting closer and closer, that was what I was getting ready for. I like to do other stuff, besides sports. But, if you give me the option of, hey, would you rather... Yeah, I don't really. I mean, any option?
You weren't looking forward to prom, for example.
Exactly. It was like, all right, well, we're gonna lift before prom. We're going to go to the gym, do this, and if I'm ready by the time prom starts, then I'm there. But if I'm not, then I'll get there when I get there. So yeah, basically just like that. Like sports were everything for me. It was stuff I enjoyed. Those were my hobbies. Those were my passions, and that was kind of literally from 7th grade all the way through.
Yeah. And now, obviously, we know you're a baseball player. We'll talk more about baseball here in a little bit. But you're quarterback over at Cape Central. That'd be a fun experience, kind of being, I guess, the guy at a pretty big school, especially here in Southeast Missouri.
Yeah, that was a really great time. Football and I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, baseball must be your favorite sport. football is it is the most fun sport for me to watch. It is the most fun sport for me to kind of like learn more about, and everything just because, there's way more action. I know there's a lot of downtime in baseball, but yeah, football was always my favorite. Growing up and everything that I got to play. The only thing that kind of held me back a little bit, man, there's not a whole lot of need for left-handed quarterbacks.
No, I mean, you're a witch in football if you're left-handed.
Exactly. So no, I did get the chance to go play if I chose to play quarterback at Lindenwood Belleville, but I knew I wanted to play football and baseball, and if I can't do something full go, I feel like I'm not only am I hurting myself, but I'm also hurting the other people that are kind of counting on me. And there's just so much that goes into quarterback, especially after high school, that, I wasn't going to be there for spring practice. And a lot of times, that's when you start to learn the new transfers. I know the transfer rules now are crazy, so I can't even remember what they were back when I was playing and everything. But, there's just so much difference now that, I was like, if I can't put all my time into that, I'm not going to be the player that I want to be. So chose to stick on the defensive side of the ball for a year before I kind of really figured out baseball is where my future is at. Yeah. I still think about what if I was able to play another year of this and and whatnot. But I can't be upset with the choices I made. It led me to where I'm at now, and I'm very happy with that. But yeah, football has always been kind of my my go-to. If football's on, man, I'm watching. I can't wait.
Right.
I think we have football on in 5 weeks.
We're getting there. Yeah,
we're
very
oh,
close.
Man. Yeah, so I just ordered another Steelers sweatshirt yesterday, and it's 92
very
degrees.
Appropriate for this time of year.
92 degrees and 100% humidity, and I'm ordering a sweatshirt. But the football has always been my number one, my favorite. But baseball's kind of where I was the best at, and kind of things stuck with me a lot longer. I learned it a lot quicker. Football I had to put more time into. Yeah. Loved it, but baseball kind of just came a little bit more natural to me. And it was something that I loved that as well. I was always in the fall, football is my favorite sport, and the spring, baseball is my favorite. That's kind of how it worked for me when I was little. So putting work into either one of those two, I was completely fine with. Whichever one I got to play professionally, didn't care as long as it was one of them, and then luckily it worked out.
Yeah definitely did. Now I do want to talk quickly. Coach, you were there when Coach Norman showed up at Cape Central, right? So
my junior year was his first year there.
Okay, your junior year. I wondered about that, or I wanted to ask about that, and also I guess before to ask about that, just broadly question wise, you're a really good high school athlete, you were the quarterback of the team. And I haven't talked to anybody in this position before. So what is it like kind of being that guy, being the guy, especially somebody's going to touch the ball? What's the pressure like? Anything like that? For a high school kid, and in your shoes, what was that like? If there was any pressure in your mind at all? I've always wondered about that.
So I think very young age, when I was little, I never wanted to lead off, because I'm the first one to have to go. I had he's actually one of the coaches. He's the head coach at Cape Central Baseball now, Steve Williams. Yeah. He was one of my coaches whenever I was younger. His son and myself, he was a year older than me. So I played with Andrew when we were little and everything. And, one thing that he told me that, my dad was around for it too. So he kind of always reminds me of it. He goes, you're going to lead off whether you want to or not. So you might as well at least try to find some positives out of it. Yeah. And that was kind of for me on the football side of things as well, where it's I'm going to touch the ball every time. Right. If I let the pressure get to me, then something bad's going to happen. So I really don't get nervous about. I probably get more nervous now as a coach because I can't really I have no control over anything, and that's the part that kind of really sucks. And I know baseball wise, you only get 3 at bats a game, so you don't really have a ton of control in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, so I had to get over those kind of nerves and all that kind of stuff really quickly. But I tell a lot of our kids now that whether it's the young kids or whatever, being the person that everybody stops what they're doing to watch your at bat or watch you take a snap or what, it is one of the greatest feelings, because they know you can do something great, and like if you are prepared for it, you're gonna do something great. Right. And it was fun. We didn't get to pass as much as I wanted to in high school. It's kind of it was still kind of more of the the era of kind of have a good running back, hand it off to them, let them kind of do a lot of things.
You guys had a few of those too.
Yeah, we
had some studs in the back then.
We had so many good running backs. So it's like, you can't really blame the coaches for just handing it off. And, obviously, running the ball is a lot less bad can go, or a lot less bad can happen, everything like that.
Don't let this guy fool you here. I saw the clips. We had some. You had a little athleticism.
I do wish I could have ran the ball a lot more than I was able to.
There was some. You're like, I'm Johnny Football here.
Yeah,
like, I'm about to take off.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I was lucky that I've always kind of been good at public speaking or speaking to teams or teammates, stuff like that. So, when you have those guys kind of staring at you, not only because you're playing quarterback, but because you're like one of the vocal leaders or whatever. It is really, really nice because you can kind of steer that direction that you think the team needs to go into. And I think every great team is player led. Obviously, it's a little bit easier for basketball or football. Quarterback's definitely the leader. Like if you don't have a quarterback that can lead, your team's probably not going to have success down the road or when it kind of matters most. But basketball, there's only 5 guys on the court, so it's kind of a little bit easier there. Baseball, it's so spread out, and you don't want your pitcher just banging his head against the wall and all this kind of stuff. Your catcher's got gear on; it's hard to hear him sometimes. So like that's kind of the harder part to think lead from. But when you're in a football locker room or whatever, like and everybody's kind of looking to you, that it's a great feeling because that whatever I do, these guys are going to follow. And if I have the correct message to them and they truly believe it, like we got 50 plus guys that are pushing or pulling in the right direction, and we're going to win a game, especially on the football side where you can be a little bit more physically dominant and kind of assert yourself in that way. But no, it's fun. Like there's nothing like football and that kind of a sport and realm of things where you can just go do literally whatever you want within a little bit of rules and everything, and just be that person.
Yeah, and so now we can talk about the baseball side of things. Obviously, you played at Cape Central. You went on to play at Lindenwood Belleville. What was that transition like going from high school to college? People talk about the jump all the time. Whatever speed, size for other people. What was that jump like for you?
Yeah, so for me, because I had football in the fall, so I didn't get to participate in fall baseball. So my first little bit of action was in the winter, and a lot of these guys, they have already had their full fall. They know each other. They have some kind of camaraderie, and then here comes the only kid that's not there for the entire fall of baseball because he's going to play football. And I have my football friends because we've been together since beginning of August or late July, and trying to make new friends there and kind of see where I fit in. It was a little bit of an adjustment for me just because like football kids and baseball kids, it's completely different. Like it's a completely different group of human beings, especially at that college age and everything there, where the biggest thing, like the locker room in football, it's rap music, it's this. Baseball music is country. It's like that's like a great way to think. That's 2 completely different things. And luckily I had some friends from around this area that went up there as well, so was able to kind of mix in with them a little bit. It was a little bit of a challenge, and I'm thankful I still keep in contact with the coach that I had up there at Lindenwood for baseball. He is awesome. I think he lives in like the Nashville area now, but he was very, very hard on me with things because I think he knew that was going to be the way to break me into that group easier. And I think he really understood like what my goals were and everything. And and I like to think that that's like it is frustrating because you're just like, man, I'm never doing the right thing, it seems like, even though I'm having success, like I didn't do it that way or whatever. And that kind of is how I like to be coached when I was a player. Like, tell me what I'm doing wrong so I don't do that again. You know, I don't want to know what I'm doing right, like, because, you know, that's just not how I was wired. Like, I want somebody that's going to kind of get in my face and, you know, not pat me on the back, more of just swat me on the butt and be like, hey, you got to do it this way or else it's not going to work. Whether it's successful or not, this is not how we are going to do this. And, you know, that was something I'm very thankful for. You know, I still talk to him every now and then about everything. You know, I tried to, coming from the football side of things, I think my freshman year I tried to, you know, that all the baseball players now, they're wearing like the skull caps or the everything. Right. So I had one of those from football, and like, you know, I had a little bit longer hair. We had a no long hair policy and everything. In my freshman year for baseball. So, you know, I come out there in the winter or like the workouts there, and I've got longer hair. I've got that on, and like I don't fit in at all. And you know, so he always, you know, reminds me of those things there, which is, you know, it's funny now and everything, but, you know, I've got to go, like, this is his program. This is what he needs from me. And that's what I've got to do. And, you know, it ended up working out in the end. He got a little bit more lenient my sophomore and junior year, definitely my junior year. You know, he let us pick out we had those, that was back in the lime green era. Like, I don't know if you remember that, where everybody's socks, everybody's shirt. I got him to get one of those highlighter yellow practice shirts. Love and that. Our team colors were maroon and black. Like,
yeah, I played at playing at Jackson. Yep. I was wearing, I had several neon green and yellow socks playing basketball. It goes great with red and black.
Yeah, exactly. As well. And, you know, he was hesitant at first, but I think by that point we kind of got on the same page, him and I, of, hey, I'm going to do everything you asked me to help lead this baseball team. Yeah. And he was like, okay, you know, for doing that, we can do some of these more, I'll say, fun things or kind of different things. So, you know, he's awesome. I appreciate everything that he's, you know, ever done for me. And especially, you know, once I left there and went to go play afterwards, you know, he kind of kept in contact and, you know, always welcomed me back before, unfortunately, the school shut down and is no longer there, man. I really wish it was, because we'd have so many kids from this area that could go up there and play, talent-wise and whatnot. So, yeah, and I mean, well, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I mean, I only have program killers for baseball people on the show, by the way. You had Landon Watkins on the show. Yeah, he killed Fontbonne. I'm blaming him personally. Yep. So, I guess what is that like, you know, as a guy who coaches kids in baseball, seeing kind of some of these smaller school opportunities seem like kind of evaporate as we get into this, you know, bigger business era of college sports? Man, I tell you, I try to keep up a little bit with the college scene of things, like, you know, and I don't dive too deep into it, but, you know, the biggest message that I think I have for like a lot of the kids that went, like, you have to find somewhere that you can play. Yeah. And if you are going to go somewhere for the name of the school, you got to understand what comes with that as well. You may have to sit a year. You may have to sit 2 years. Yeah. You may, whatever it may be. And if that's something you're okay with, then that could be the school for you. Yeah. And I have a good feeling that 95% of kids don't want that. Right. They want to find somewhere to play. And, you know, it, like with the smaller schools, it is kind of getting a little bit tougher just because, you know, some of those big D1 guys, they'll transfer out and they'll go down to the smaller school, have a great year, and then try to transfer back up. And, you know, that it is the unfortunate thing for high school athletes. But, you know, you can never do too much homework on where you want to possibly spend the next 4 or 5 years of your baseball or football or whatever sport you're playing career. Because, you know, I think they just passed the thing now where it's a 5-year limit and that's it. So like, you know, you waste 2 years, you only got 3 left. You waste 3 years, you only got 2 left. And, you know, as much as I love practice now as a coach, because you really see kids get better, like the kids want to play. Like they don't want to just practice all the time. But, you know, if you're going somewhere where you're going to sit for 2 years, that's 2 years of practice only. And, you know, you might get to play in like the spring football game or the fall, the games and whatnot. But, you know, that's not everybody's goal to just play in those games. They want to play on the games on Saturday. Right. They want to play in the weekend double headers or whatever, you know, during the spring and whatnot for baseball. So go somewhere where you can play. Go somewhere where you can at least compete for a spot. And, you know, that's a lot of times there's so many good coaches at smaller schools that are doing everything they can for them to get to a bigger school too. Like if you're at a small school as a coach and you're not sending anybody to other schools, like those other schools aren't going to come get you as a coach either. So there's a lot of great coaches that are at some of these smaller schools that, it might be a year and they're gone as well. But guess what? If you and that coach really click and that coach leaves, there's a chance he's going to bring you with him. Right. So you kind of get to move around with him a little bit. But the small school stuff, it's getting more and more difficult. It used to be kind of like the easier path to like get in there and then you maybe transfer up or something like that. But college sports in general are just insane right now. Yeah. It's hard really to keep up with it all because there is so much movement and so much just uncertainty, not only year to year, but literally like day to day. Right. You have no clue. Like, I don't know how many commitments and then the next day decommit, then the next day commit to this other school. Like, man, some people got some pretty nuts Instagrams. Yeah.
A lot of deleting going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is one thing I did always appreciate about baseball is I felt like that the junior college, community colleges, that was a real route for kids to, play and like you said, move up. I mean, especially back in the olden days when we had the MLB draft that went on for rounds and rounds and
40
rounds.
40 rounds, man.
You would see, I mean, there's a lot of kids, that are junior college guys. There's a lot of guys playing professional baseball at a high level right now that are junior college guys. So that was always something I appreciated about baseball. And so speaking of, professional route, you talked about you got to play after college as well. What was, I guess you said it was always a goal from the time you were a little kid. You're like, hey, this is what I want to do. Obviously I love this sport and I want to, you telling me I get to do this for a job, exactly. Like you said? Yes. Sign me up. So I guess, did you, when you showed up there at Lindenwood, did you see that path, existing for you? Or at what point while you were there, are you like, hey, yeah, this is still definitely a real option for me?
I think after my sophomore, I think it was still kind of more a dream when I first got there. I think after my sophomore year, I don't remember what numbers I hit, but my power numbers started to really kind of go up a little bit, and I was consistent. Like I was more extra base hits, more art. Like I was really starting to kind of not just be fast, get on base, score runs. Like I was able to kind of still do that stuff, but kind of more drive runs in at that point. And at that point, that's kind of when I really kind of started to feel like, okay, it could like actually happen. Because you never really know, especially if you've always been in this area, like how good other areas of the country are at whatever sport. It could be anything. And especially on the baseball side of things where, obviously in the South, they can play baseball year round. Here we're kind of limited to a 7, maybe 8 month time frame where, those other 4 months you're inside and you've got your Steelers sweatshirt on that you just ordered or anything like that. And you're, kind of freezing and just trying to hit off a machine in a cage. So I probably after my sophomore year, but really my junior year is when that kind of really, I was like, all right, this could really happen. Cause back like when I was there, you had to be, if you went to a 4-year school, you had to be there for at least 3 years, which I think they still have that rule.
I believe so.
I went out to Oregon for summer ball, so kind of like what the Catfish League is here, but it was the West Coast League and Wood Bat League, everything there, and the draft started to come by, and my dad actually came out that weekend specifically for that. My junior year in college was. And this is one of the things that, like, especially when our Aces kids, that you're like, oh, hey, like I can do this, and they're like, you can't do this. I'm like, guys, I'm not in shape to do it right now, but whenever you give me 1 week, and then we'll go at it with each other. But I'll say crowning achievement my time in baseball in college was my junior year. I was the only player in the entire country, any level, that had 10 triples, 10 doubles, 10 home runs.
Wow.
So that was kind of like, and that was a goal of mine. But between me and my dad to get that. And I think I had 9. I had the doubles and triples, and I was sitting at 9 home runs. And my dad kind of before every game would just text me, hey, you're at 9. You're at 9. You just need one more. And so that was kind of like, going into the draft that year, I'm like, oh, this is like for sure it's going to happen, because the game at Lindenwood at that point almost felt like too easy for me at that point. So I was like, okay, like surely somebody's going to notice this. There's 40 rounds. There's however many 1,500 picks. Like surely I'm one of the best 1,500 players in the entire country at this point that's eligible. And, he came out to, I think we were in Washington that weekend for a series. And, we were watching it the entire time, the entire draft. It was still 3 days. I didn't think that, the first day, that's your big time D1 guys or, guys that are going to go D1 out of high school. But so I wasn't really kind of expecting anything there. But I was like, maybe day 2, day 3, something like that. Because I don't remember what the rounds kind of, I went like round 4 to 20 maybe, and then 20 to 40 on the third day. But yeah, I didn't hear my name or see my name pop up. At that point, honestly, I was ready to just literally just go straight home. I was like, I what more can I do for this to happen for me? And at that point, like I still loved baseball, but I didn't really like it. It was kind of like a shot like right in the gut to me. I was like, I guess I'm going back my senior year, and do I got to get 20? Like what more could you possibly do at that point? It was kind of my thought. And my dad was there. My brother was there as well. They made us a special trip just for the draft, just in case it did happen and everything. But we went back to Oregon, our home stadium there. I think it was maybe a week or two later. We had an off day. I think it was like a Tuesday or something. And the head coach, he texted me. He goes, "Hey, we're having practice here. I'm texting all the guys. We're gonna have a practice Tuesday at whatever time it is." And I'm like, "All right, whatever. Like practice on an off day. That's fine. Whatever." So I get there, about 15, 20 minutes before the practice is supposed to start, and I'm the only one there. And I'm like, well, maybe I was supposed to send the text to everybody, something. And I'm like, are we having practice today, or was that like whatever? He goes, "No, you're trying out for the Twins today." And I'm like, I guess I'm not preparing for this. Like, I guess I'm going.
Hope you're mentally prepared for this.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of a shock to me. I was not ready for that. But kind of how I told you before this, like, I think a lot of times I do my best when I don't have too much time to think about stuff, right. especially like athletic stuff. Now I know obviously there's film study, stuff like that, which is different, but I like to just hope that everything I've prepared for leading up to that is just ready to go. And everything. And, had a really good showing there with that. And the guy, the scout that was out there, he, said, "Hey, we'll be in touch and all this." And it was probably about a week and a half later, maybe. And, we were actually at the, All-Star game for that league out there. And, we're getting ready to go to the field, and he shoots me a text and he goes, "You can't participate in any of this." And I'm just like, I was like, if that's how it has to go, just in case something does happen. Yeah. And I was like, all right, like that's fine. He goes, "Because you're gonna be on a plane tomorrow." And I'm like, all right, well, this is really happening. Well, so already then. That was basically kind of how it happened. And literally like the next day I was flying from Oregon all the way to Fort Myers, Florida. So, wow. And I'm not a big flyer. I don't like to fly. So putting me on the longest possible.
Yeah. I was like, get ready to learn. Yeah,
exactly.
5 hours, 6 hours.
Yeah. No, it was not fun. It was fun, but not fun at the same time. Like you're excited to get there, but you're not excited to go there. On the plane, but and then that's how that happened. That was 2015, so sometime July or middle of July, late July. So yeah, it was a lot of emotions in like a month time span there of like literally not wanting to play baseball at all anymore. Then trying to figure out like what do I have to do, and then it's like, oh, you're going, so you're gonna go make $490 every 2 weeks to play rookie ball before they actually started paying them like real human beings and everything. So
love that. Yeah. So what was that like? So you were there, you played for the Twins organization for several years. What was like this daily schedule like for you? What is minor league professional baseball
okay,
like?
so this is how it could be a little bit different now and everything. But so for us, rookie ball in Florida, we played our games at like noon every day, noon or 1 o'clock, depending on who you were playing against. So
they did pick the hottest time of day in Florida.
Yeah, in Florida, yeah, they right after it rains every day, and so we were in a little quad league of, it was the Twins, the Red Sox, the Orioles, and the Tampa Bay Rays. So we're like in this like little 4-team league type thing. So, we'd wake up at 6 o'clock, 6:30, something like that, go eat breakfast, get to the clubhouse by 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock, we're kind of on field, ready to start doing whatever we're supposed to be doing. So about from 7 to 8 o'clock, if you need treatment, if you need to get in the hot tubs, if you need to get rolled out or whatever it may be, stretch more before stretch starts, that was kind of your hour to get yourself ready to start at 8. So from 8 to probably 8:30, 8:45, we're doing like all of our stretches. Like, and it's a 30-minute stretch every day. Like, wow. Which now
I could probably use that.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, like, idea. I still remember a lot of it. We should pick that up. Yeah, exactly. But, I still remember a lot of those things, and I had to try to do that for our stretches, like for high school and, summer ball stuff. But so basically, let's just say it goes 30 minutes, 8:30 to 9 o'clock. You're in like your position specific. We had 8 fields down there. So it's like, okay, well, all outfielders are going to go to this field. Or, sometimes they'd split it up towards like, okay, hey, corner outfielders on this field, center fielders over here. So it was really split up to like really kind of maximize everybody that's there and not just have a lot of sitting around, which they have the fields to be able to do that and whatnot. But, yeah, so that would probably be about 45 minutes to an hour of just kind of like your individual team stuff or individual position stuff. And then, if it was something that we needed to work on as a team, as far as like cuts, relays, bunt coverage, all that, then after that, about an hour of individual stuff, we'd come together as a team, work on all that stuff, and then we'd hit on the field. So you're looking at like a 2.5, 3 hour practice every day, and then you go play a game.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that was every day, Monday through Saturday. We had all Sundays off. So, I mean, you're at the field potentially, if you get there right at 7 o'clock to kind of start doing pre-work stuff, you're there from 7 to 2 o'clock, 7 to 3 o'clock. Then if you got to get back on the bus, it's, you're getting back at, 4 o'clock or whatever. And then you still got to do your ice bath, hot tub, contrast stuff or needling, all that stuff. So, it is very long days, but that's kind of what it takes to get to a level that you want to get to. And I'll never forget what the guy that signed me, because he kept up with me for a bunch of months after I first signed, just to make sure, see how everything was going, how I liked it, how I enjoyed it, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things he said to me, he goes, I know you're not making a lot of money right now, which we actually did the math. So we actually stayed in dorms. So that was kind of taken out of our check. But after that was taken out of our check, we made $498 every 2 weeks. And it came out to like $2.22 an hour is what, like, just rough on our base day. So it is a lot better now. But, he goes, I know you're not making enough money, but the work you put in now will get you more money in the end. Like he goes, you're doing all these things right now to get a second contract. This is not the money you're trying to live on right now. Like, you got to do all this stuff so you get the money later. Right. And, that was kind of like a big drive for me at that point in my life, where I was like, if I want to make this a job, like, you got to make money on a job. And,
it does help.
220. Yeah, exactly. Cause then I think at that point it's called just a hobby.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That was an 8 hour a day hobby you had in there.
Exactly.
Dying in the Florida heat.
Exactly. And, so that was one thing that really drove me. It was like, I was a very kind of money driven person at that point. I wanted to, I wanted to play so I didn't have to do anything after I was done playing, where I could just retire, have all this here, and now I can go do whatever I want. So that was kind of like my thought process and like kind of goal going into everything there was, I need to do all this stuff here. Obviously, sitting back at it now and looking at it, you always wish that you would have done just maybe a little bit more and maybe some things would have changed. But, I try to do everything I could to to get myself as far as I possibly could. Yep. And everybody's got a max at some point, whether it's talent, whether it's mentally, physics, something. And I reached mine at the end of 3.5, 4 years, and it's something that I wish I could have played longer, but that's where I was meant to be done and kind of start something different. So very, very happy with how everything ended up for me and kind of played out.
Yeah. Before we leave that, where all did you play at, like location wise?
Okay, so just with Twins?
Yeah.
Okay, Fort Myers was was our rookie level. Then we had an advanced rookie level, which was in Elizabethton, Tennessee, which is the farthest east you can go in Tennessee. That was a 14-hour bus ride from Fort Myers to there for one of my second season. So that one was rough. That's like through the mountains.
That's not a fun. That's not a fun drive.
That one was awful. And then I played low A, which is now their high A team, but it was low A when I was there in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Okay. Played 2 seasons there, or I guess technically parts of 3 seasons, maybe. Parts of 3, maybe it was just 2 seasons. But that one, I've still got a host family up there that they go to spring training every year and they pass right through here and we'll go to dinner and everything. They're awesome. Chuck and Cindy Young, they're amazing. But yeah, shout out. I don't know if maybe they'll watch it, but they're awesome, and I love that those summers up in Cedar Rapids. So that was definitely one of my favorite spots to be in, even though it was still the same weather we have here, miserably humid, hot. Just it was the most like home, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I do appreciate that they're like, hey, you're playing minor league baseball. Not only do you have to have all this like crazy schedule and like you're getting $400 every 2 weeks, we're also going to only put teams in the least interesting cities in America.
Yeah, exactly. Like
we somehow have like 800 minor league teams and none of them are in a single like interesting city with more than like 5,000 people there.
Yeah, the corn population to the person population has to equal 1.
Yes.
That's like, I think it's in the rule book somewhere.
So Iowa's where you ended up being in. Okay.
Yep.
So then you mentioned it as that time and that era in life kind of started coming to a close. I mean, did coaching feel like a natural transition for you, kind of where you wanted to go?
Yeah, I mean, at first, so I had surgery on my shoulder. I had a blood clot. I had to get my top rib removed, and that kind of is what ended my career. Like as soon as I got done rehabbing from that, like I got off the rehab list. I was done with all that stuff, and I was released the next day. So, I kind of had a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. Didn't really want anything to do with baseball for a while there, just because I was like, you hear people say it all the time, like, if it wasn't for that injury, I'd still be playing. Like, I have no clue. Like, maybe I wouldn't. I wasn't the greatest player at that stage of the age I was and the level I was at, but maybe it would have been 1 more year, maybe it would have been a year and a half, maybe it would have been 3 weeks later. I have no clue, but
top rib removed that's intense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That sounds.
Yeah. I actually have it. I always keep it. It's in my car at all times. It's actually outside right now. So I really wanted nothing to do with baseball at that point. So I kind of stopped doing anything there. And then I had 2 families reach out to me when I was at the Central Middle School, just being a para teacher there. And they were like, hey, I know you played baseball. Like, would you be interested in, just training my son or anything? I was like, I mean, I might. This was probably a year and a half after I was done playing. And I was like, I can do that. And that's kind of what kicked it really off is started doing the training from that. Then I had, I don't know how many years of that. That was probably 2 years, 3 years where that business of things started just like really picking up to where I was like, well, I can't do an 8-hour day at the school and then go do 8 more hours of
there's not enough time in the day.
Exactly. So that's when I stopped doing working at the school. Not that there's anything wrong with working at the school, but man, it's not nearly as fun as just doing training every day. And I'm glad I made that switch. But, and that kind of progressed into the coaching side of things where, I had some families ask like, hey, we want something more than what we've got right now. Is there anything you can do for us? And at that point, I think it was it was in February, and I was like, I mean, we can throw something together right now, but it's not going to be great. I was like, if you can give me just an entire summer to plan for something, and that's literally how the Aces came.
Gotcha.
Had an entire summer to kind of, plan for things, see what we wanted to do with it. If we wanted to do, Babe Ruth or just travel, and we were like, well, we can do some kind of hybrid thing of it. And that's kind of where we're at now, 5 years in. And, it's been awesome. Every year we figure out something that makes it easier for us to kind of control and manage and push everything, because we know things that work, things that don't work. What do families like? What do families don't like? Or what do they not like? All that kind of stuff. So it was a pretty, I'll say it was about a 2-year span where I was like, man, I may never watch baseball, may never care about baseball again. And then, 2 years in, you always kind of come back to things that you have passion for and really love. And, now, those 2 years that I missed out on baseball, I'm getting it every single day now.
Yeah.
So I'm making up for it.
Yeah.
Making up for lost time there for those 2 years. But, now we're here. Now we're here 5 years in and making a move to a bigger thing. And it's going to be more baseball. So,
more baseball.
So it's a good ride to be on, though.
Yeah. And, this area, I feel like it's underappreciated maybe how big baseball is or how important baseball is, because, different places have whatever they prefer. Some of the SEMO conference teams, they're football schools like your Jacksons or Dexters or whoever, and then there's others that are basketball schools. There's football schools. Sykeston has basketball, Cape has basketball. That's that's kind of their forte, things like that. But this area, up and down, all the way from the boot heel up to here, when it comes to kids going to college, things like that, playing at the next level, I mean, it feels like baseball is kind of the premier sport in a way in that manner. And so it seemed like there's probably a big hole, even though there's other, there's other travel teams and people training and things like that. There's a big hole always in this area for more, baseball training, things like that.
100%. And I think baseball's probably been just the most consistent sport as far as, of just talent. Kind of every year there's, a handful of guys that are just really good coming out of this area and going to play. Some years, and maybe it's because there's guys that are just pitchers, and then there's 9 guys on the field at a time, and basketball's only got 5, so maybe you only have 1 senior that's there, so you kind of lose some guys in the mix. But I feel like baseball is one of those very consistent sports where there's always 5, 6, maybe 10 guys that are right here local that are going to play at the next level. And I think that's one of the areas where why we were making this move to USA Prime is, it is difficult. Memphis is 3 hours south, St. Louis is 2 hours north, and we're kind of in that, like I said earlier, kind of like that no man's land where, there's 100,000 kids at both of those locations. What's going to get a coach to come to this one in the middle and maybe only see 150 kids and hopefully grab one of them. We have a lot of talent that rolls through here. So I think that was a big thing for us, was getting that talent to some of those eyes and everything that may get kind of passed on just because we don't have the millions of kids that are either playing. We are a lot of smaller schools, kind of in a small, or in an area, rather than what Francis Howell's got, like 5 different schools. You got a north, south, east, west, and then like a central, don't you?
Every one of those Zoom walls.
So it's a lot easier for some of those coaches to just I'll stay up here where I'm from and see 40 kids on the baseball field that are really good versus coming down here to where there's maybe only 3 kids that we can choose from. So but there is, every year we've got kids that are going to JUCOs or NAIs, Division Ones, and if you're going to that, you have a chance. You have a chance to continue playing, and it is good to see a lot of the kids from this area, and especially some of those smaller schools down south that are getting those opportunities, because it is difficult. It is difficult at some of the smaller schools to get the looks, just based on how many kids are available. And but no, it's been good to see some of the kids kind of come to us, and we've been able to kind of push them out to some areas that they wouldn't have played in if they weren't with us. So I hope we help every family that comes and plays with us, especially those ones that are 16 to 18, where they are like, hey, like I've got to start doing things to get to play to the next level. Right. Like anything to extend your career by 5 years. Like that. That's kind of like our goal for our 18s is like, what do we have to do to continue playing? If that's a goal for some guys.
Yeah. So for the Aces, what all, I guess when it came to, you're like, hey, let's get this thing rolling. How did it start versus like where are you guys at now as far as teams go or ages, anything like that?
Yeah. So our original plan, we started with a 14U, a 16U, and an 18U. And kind of our original plan in that was kind of taken more from like the softball side of things, where softball, they don't have the odd years or the odd ages in their stuff. It's 10U, 12U, 14, 16, 18. And kind of our original plan with that was, okay, well, we're going to run 14, 16, 18s, and we'll try to go 8s, 10s, 12. At the younger age, it's just a little bit more difficult. But once you get to high school, like, if you're playing varsity, you're playing 18-year-olds. Right. Like you're playing 18U baseball at the varsity level. And it's one of those things where when the kids were 13, I'd say you kind of have a struggle year. But then when you're 14, you're like, you've already played a 14U season. Right. So you like, this is your year to like lead and shine and kind of help some of maybe these 13U kids learn this. And then at 14, when you jump up to 16U, you'll be that young guy again. Yeah. And it may be a little bit of a struggle. How are we going to overcome these things? How are we going to get better? Are we going to just fold and quit when things get tough? Because if that's the case, then baseball can't be for you, because even the greatest hitters and pitchers ever you're going to fail. Like you're going to have the game where you throw an inning in a third and you give up 9 runs. You're going to have that. Like nobody doesn't have that. And you're going to have those games as a hitter where you're 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Like, are we going to let that carry over to tomorrow, or are we going to forget it, move on, and now tomorrow I have 2 hits, stuff like that. So,
and like you said, that's what life is like.
Like, exactly.
Like sports, like you're going to be, like you said, if you're on the varsity when you're 14, you're probably going to get beat up. You're probably it's probably going to be really hard.
Yeah,
but
it's
like
not
you
gonna
said,
be fun.
By the time you get older, it's like that's when it starts to flip a little bit. But I mean, that's like you said, the same thing in just everyday life.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You're just everything's just not going to work. Or you are going to be the guy getting people coffee, and then hopefully one day you're the one that somebody's doing that for you.
Yep, exactly. I think that's what the Disney CEO used to drive buses for them, and now he's just the big guy there. He just moves his way up, and I think after our second year, we kind of realized that was our goal with it, but that's not what a lot of the kids wanted, or a lot of the parents wanted, or anything. They wanted that 13U, 14U, 15U. So we kind of switched that model up there a little bit and kind of opened it up. I think our second year we had 13s, 14s, and 16s, I think. I think that's what it was. So we still had the 15 and 16s together, which was great. It worked out really well and everything. But our third year is when we were like, okay, we're ditching this whole thing like that, and we're going every year. It's a model that has obviously worked for a long time. I think people are like used to that. I know sometimes like disruption in certain things is good because it might be better. And we realize that, hey, as much as we want this for these kids and them to be able to experience it, that's not what the kids and the families wanted. So that's when we switched. I think we had our third year, I think we had 6 teams. Last year, I think we had 8 teams, and this year we have 10 teams. So it's grown every single year. Yeah. We get more and more people interested in just the way we do things, kind of how we teach it. I know a big thing for us is, and I believe that this is how anything successful needs to run. Obviously, when it gets so big and stuff like that, it kind of has to change a little bit. But this past year, 10 teams, like I make it as the head of the whole organization. I know every kid's face. I know every kid's name. Like, and I got to make sure like that. I feel like I have to do that as the lead person. And and during the fall and the winter, I run a lot of our practices. Like I'm there. I may have a station or something like that, and other coaches are doing stuff here. But that's a great thing where a lot of our older coaches are, I'll say, our non-dad coaches. We do fall camps where It's just position stuff, and I'll take the outfielders. Caden Kendall will take pitchers. Landon Watkins will take the first baseman. Justin Moses will take the infielders, and Jared will take the catcher. Like, we do all those things where our older coaches work with the younger kids, and I think that's one thing that kind of has set us apart the past couple years is, and they may not know all the kids' names and everything like that, but I don't ask them to or anything like or whatever. That's a lot that they have normal jobs as well. Yeah. Like I'll say I don't have a normal job, so it's my goal to know every kid's name and to know a little bit about them. What positions they're playing. I follow everybody's game changer. I'd follow everybody's, group message just to see what's going on. So that way, it doesn't feel like I'm only here to coach my team and care about like every team we've got, like I'm attached to it somehow. Yeah. And, I plan to kind of keep on going with that in the future. I know, obviously if we get up to, 15, 18, 20 teams, something like that, it gets tougher and tougher. But, that's something I still want to, I'm going to be involved somehow. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's just the right way to do it as the head person. And, I know a bunch of our families appreciate it. I know a bunch of our kids appreciate it. They may not realize it right now, but at some point they're going to be like, man, I'm glad he was there. Cause at some point, cause our non-dads, that was hard to say, are our high school age coaches. So like whenever they're done with 18U, they'll just circle back around and pick up another 14U team. So I might be those kids' coach at some point. And if they understand and realize like, hey, like he's actually been working with me since I was 8 years old, 9 years old, and now I get to play for him, or now I get to travel in the same tournaments as the 16U kids, and I'm 15 or something like that. So it all kind of comes back full circle, and it's a lot of work right now, but the goal, kind of like with minor league baseball, is hopefully you're doing all the work now to where it pays off in the end. Right. And that's kind of my philosophy with it, and it's worked so far, and we're going to keep on rolling with that until it doesn't work.
Yeah. How nice is it to kind of have, like you said, some of these guys who have experience playing, in this from this area, and then also having guys that have played at the next level. They're involved in your organization as coaches. It's
amazing. They're all the assistant coaches we have are great, or some of them are head coaches of their own age and everything. But and I try to get their feedback on things, because I'm a firm believer that a head coach is only as good as his assistants. Like, a head coach can't do everything at practices or whatever. Like, there's so much that goes into being a head coach that people don't realize until they're thrown into that position or have to do it. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize I have to deal with this and also do lineups and also do this and that. And, I try to get as much feedback from them as I possibly can. So I take as much of that, I'll say kind of dirty work off of their plate, so where they can just focus on coaching. Like, what do you guys need? Like, tell me if this is working. Tell me if this isn't working. Like, and I think they really appreciate that. They know that they're in the position that they are in because I fully trust them. Like, if I could watch, heck, I don't know. I could watch Bobby Witt Jr. YouTube video of how he's fielding a ground ball, but if Justin tells me that this is going to be easier for this age, I'm going to trust Justin. Yeah. Like, it goes with everybody that we've got there. And, I think they appreciate that kind of freedom that I give them at their specific position, and it works really well. We all kind of talk pretty frequently, not just about baseball, but, other stuff as well. And, we have a really good tight group of guys there that, we all kind of want the same thing. We all want what's best for the kids and the families, and we're just kind of in position to kind of help push them in that direction.
Yeah. Well, now let's transition over here to what else you're a part of right now as well, which is this past year becoming an assistant coach over at Notre Dame.
Yeah, that was different.
How weird was it putting on the Notre Dame logo first day?
Yeah, that was the different part, man. I've never in my life thought I was going to ever coach at Notre Dame. Never. Yeah. But I will say it's been amazing. The kids that are there, it is kind of a different atmosphere and everything than, kind of being at public school or even difference in summer ball. Like, I've enjoyed it. We had a great year this past year. We were very, very fortunate that we had a lot of talented seniors, a lot of good vocal and kind of lead by example guys. So it was a very, very good first year for me to step in as an assistant coach. And, I got to be with a lot of the JV guys this past year as JV head coach and enjoyed that. Got to see some of those guys get better. A lot of those guys kind of understand like, hey, we may not have this guy that's dropping down from varsity this day, so you're going to have to pick up some slack and, kind of teach them a little bit about how to, and I always try to, how to be a professional, even though they're high school kids, but, how to take care of your business. And then if everybody takes care of their business, then the team moves in the right direction as well. So it's been great. It has been a change from public school to private school, but, it's something I'm looking forward to again next year. I don't know what freshmen we're going to have come in. Just it could be from anywhere. Like you just that
is a big difference. Yeah, like you said, like you can if you're at Cape Jackson, wherever, it's like you can kind of map that out. Even like you're like, oh, this kid is really good sixth grader, and it's like
exactly
like you're like I'm going to have this kid in 3 years. You can't necessarily do that.
Oh no, we got a kid from Marion, Illinois that rides a bus over every day and whatnot, and we got kids from I don't know if they play sports, but we got kids from Caruthersville, I think, or Portageville. So like the area that they pull from is just so large that you don't really want to go in with a plan because you're either going to be most likely if you go in with a plan, you're going to probably be upset because it's not exactly what you thought it was. So, kind of going in blindly is kind of my goal with it. Whatever we get. But it's going to be fun. They're always a competitive in no matter whatever sport they're in. Football's going to bring in some more athletes that, hopefully play other sports as well and not just football. Hopefully they add to the basketball program, track and baseball, everything there. But, that is kind of one of the bigger differences is I have no clue what to expect because there is no junior high baseball program for Notre Dame. There is no junior high football program or basketball It's kind of like they have the parochial school leagues and stuff for basketball, but some of those kids might go to Saxony. Some of those kids might go to public school when they get to high school. Like you just never fully know there. And so it is a little bit of the unexpected, but again, that's also kind of part of the fun in it. You just never know you're going to be like, all right, we got baseball today. And, there's that kid from, Sykeston, or there's that kid from Charleston or whatever it is. So,
yeah. And you mentioned, you guys had a really successful year, district champs. You guys were district champs for the first time since 2018, which was kind of crazy whenever I saw that. Cause Notre Dame is a school with a lot of baseball tradition. It's kind of one of those places where you expect to really be competitive, one of the best in the area, year in and year out.
Yeah. And that was kind of our goal from day one. Tom kind of set that. It wasn't, I won't call it a goal. It was almost like an expectation.
Right.
And I think him setting that expectation from day one, like literally we were outside on the track in freezing cold. Austin Dill, shout out to Austin. Hopefully you're doing well in the league that you're playing in out there. Everything, but he's out there running with the kids. The kids are asking me, "Hey, are you going to run?" I'm like, "Nah, it's a little too cold for me. I'm going to stand here as still as I possibly can and hope the wind misses me."
You're like, I haven't been doing my hour of stretching like I used to, so I don't think I can do that.
I didn't wake up at 6:30 this morning to do this, but that was kind of the expectation that was set early on, and like I said, we had a great group of seniors that I think they were hungry for that success, and they knew that it was going to take things that suck for us to be good or for us to do things and accomplish things that we want to accomplish. Like, not very many success stories in sports come from just the easy way out. And it's always who did the most work in the off season, who did the least amount of fun things to become a team and everything. And, they kind of really put that on their plate and, was kind of expecting the younger guys to do it. If something wasn't going right, those guys weren't scared to, not yell at them, but, tell them like, hey, like this is how things have to happen. Like, so it was a very, very well ran player team.
Yeah.
And then that's why you have success. Like you got the younger guys looking up to the older guys and you got the older guys just pulling the car along.
Yep.
And, it was good. So I'll be interested to see what we got next year. I know, the top 5 in our order, and our two main pitchers are all seniors. So, but I mean, the message is still going to be, and the expectation is still going to be the same. Now we just have the target on our back. Coming in as the the reigning district champs, and I think the group is going to be ready for it. It'll be a new challenge for us, so we're going to have to, not only do what we did last year, but we're going to have to add to it. Like, we can't just go into the same as we were this year, because other teams are going to be doing something to, hey, this is why we lost to Notre Dame. We got to do something more now. So we're going to have to be on our best. Our best off-season program, or our best game every time we come out, because everybody's going to want to knock us off. And but that's part of the fun. That's part of the good challenge there.
And you guys don't shy away from challenge. I was looking at the schedule. Obviously, you play the SEMO Conference, which is always very good. And, Cape Jackson, Poplar Bluff, those guys, always very competitive. And you guys played, out of area teams. You went up, you played St. Francis Borgia, Lafayette, North Point. You guys played. And you played other teams your size and even smaller that are very, very good programs. Like, you played Jefferson early in the year.
Yep.
You played Portageville. You played Cooter, Bernie, Scott City.
Yeah, a lot of Final Four teams, which is good.
A ton of teams that made runs. Valley Catholic, Marion, Illinois. They beat Jackson this year as well. You guys beat Poplar Bluff in 8 innings, which is always good. Yep. I always support that.
Yep.
Always a fan of that. But yeah, and then. Obviously I mentioned you won districts, and then that was kind of, the story maybe of baseball season was what happened to you guys after districts. You guys played in sectionals.
Yep.
You beat North County in sectionals.
Yep.
That's the very easy version of it. But you guys had you guys had a lot of people probably know by now, you guys had a bus accident on the way up to North County. What was the fallout of that? Like, what was that entire situation being, one of the adults in the room of that whole ordeal?
Yeah. So I hate flying. I get sick on bus rides. Unless I'm driving, and I'm not going to fly the plane, I can tell you that. But unless I'm driving, I will get sick. So my head was down whenever a lot of the stuff happened, until kind of we were off the side of the road and whatnot. So I don't know unless what I've been told, exactly what happened. But we had I know the back of the bus got a lot more of the brunt of the crash than the front did. I'm always a front of the bus rider. I never, even when I was little, I'd put me right behind the bus driver so I can get off this thing as quick as possible. And so we didn't get really as much, I'll say, damage as kind of the back of the bus. But yeah, that was nuts, and then it started raining on us while we were on the side of the road. So there was just so many things that kind of happened there. I know they wanted to continue playing that day still, and it's like, I don't know how that's going to happen. We were trying to get something through the state to be able to maybe push it back another day, because we had a broken nose, we had concussions, we had possible lacerated kit. Like, there were so many things that happened, and a lot of our kids were texting me, and I would assume they were texting Tom as well. Just, we're playing, right? We're going to play. Like, we're going to do this. And, and I was like, I don't know. I don't want to give somebody a wrong answer or give somebody an answer and then it completely is the wrong thing. And now they're mad at me. So I'm like, guys, I don't know anything. But yeah, we ended up not taking a bus up there the next day. Everybody drove themselves. Avoided every back road that we possibly could. Those things it's like they can't even fit a bus. So it's
no,
just,
yeah. I was like, I mention on here all the time, I called basketball, football games for Jackson, especially basketball season. Whenever it's like, yeah, let's go play Hillsboro or Farmington, or we're playing in Washington, Missouri, places like that. I'm following the GPS and I'm like, it's like, turn left here. I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
I
don't
really want me to turn here?
Yeah, there's rocks on this road and everything. But so we went up there that next day, and there was going to be very, very little that could happen to us where we were going to be phased. We knew, we had kind of the mindset of, they don't care that we had a bus wreck. Right. They wanted to play the day we had it. They were begging to do that. So we kind of went in there with a little bit of a meaner mindset, and we were able to play one of the best games we had all year. Houston pitched amazing in that game. We had the timely hitting. Colin Heiser had the ball that went off the third base bag, and
it was a perfect way for that to end.
Like, I mean, there was so many things in that game where if we maybe, and not in a good way, but if we maybe didn't have that wreck, maybe we do kind of fold down because things didn't go our way. Yeah. But like, we had so much emotion in that, and we wanted to win that so bad so we could have another home game the following day or 2 days after, whatever it was. That any slight inconvenience to us on the field, like, we got over it so quickly and was ready to make the next play. And that's what great baseball teams do. Yeah. And they find ways to get over the little things to go make the next play. And, we were able to pounce on that. And it was awesome. Like, that was a very fun run. I wish we could have gone just a little bit farther, that home game, but, that we had against, was it Westminster? Yeah. But they're a solid team. I think we just kind of maybe ran out of gas, or maybe the bumps and bruises from that. Yeah. I mean, that wreck kind of got us.
It was one day later, and a guy who spent the North County game in the hospital, TJ Bolin. Yep. I mean, talk about the guts of that kid coming out to pitch. I think he pitched a complete game, maybe, or almost, or
it was, I think, something. Yeah, 6 1/3 maybe. But
against the Westminster team that I was just looking it up, they've won like 15 state titles.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it was the team FaceTimed him as soon as we won the West County game for the team huddle and everything. So there was really no way that we were going to be able to. And I mean, unless the doctor physically was at the field that day saying that he couldn't get on the field, I don't think there was a way that he was not going to play. Yeah. And I think that really kind of showed from the very beginning of the season till then how influential and how much of a voice and how much the whole team kind of looked up to our seniors. Yeah. And it didn't go our way in that game, but I don't think outside of winning anybody would choose any other way to end the season as we did. With just how much the seniors meant and how much everybody was willing to do whatever it took to give them a great year to end on. Yeah. And everything there. So hats off to the entire team there. From freshmen all the way up to seniors. And we got to make sure that next year we do the same thing. Like, we've got to go out and do it again. It's not just going to be given to us. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us next year because we lost 5 seniors or because we had this accident. Like, everybody sees is district champs. They made it to quarterfinals, and this is it. Like, go beat them. Like, go make your own story for the year. But it would be cool if Netflix kind of did pick up like a documentary on us for that. Like, that'd be really cool.
It's a crazy deal. Yeah, I mean, and you guys you won't be alone next year. I was looking this up, kind of going in when I was talking about the last episode I did. I was talking just like year in review. And I was looking at the kids that were graduating. You guys lose, a ton of important people. Bolin, Chase Lawson, Crawford, Duncan. A lot of these kids that put up a ton of stats for you guys, pitched most every inning for you guys, is all kind of going out the door. But Cape is losing a ton. Jackson's losing a lot of guys. There's going to be a lot of turnover next year, and there's going to be a lot of young guys kind of having to step up for you guys. And as a JV coach, you got to see a lot of those. You're going to have a lot of guys on that team probably contributing next year.
Oh yeah, it's going to be good to see them get that kind of that payoff, and see them get the opportunities to play in games that people go watch. I know it does suck. Like, JV's good. Nobody, we don't have the whole school out there watching. Typically, everybody goes home before the JV game starts, and but now they get everybody to watch them, and the work that you've put in, like, everybody's going to see it now. Like, did you do it? Did you not do it? And I think a lot of the guys that will be able to contribute for us next year, they're putting the work in. I know Nolan Self, one of our coaches, he's got a whole strength and conditioning thing going for all the kids that want to get in on it at prep athletics. So that's going to be a great thing for the group as well. I know going into this, that was one thing that Gravit told us as coaches. They're like, there's not much of a weights kind of push for things because they haven't had football, and that's typically the sport that pushes the weight room more than anything. And they don't really have I think they have a couple guys and girls that wrestle each year, but not really like a team and everything. But that's one thing that I think that the kids are going to benefit from the most is sports get easier when you're bigger, faster, stronger.
Yep.
And if they really put the work into that spot or that part of the game, I think they're going to see the actual game get easier and better for him as well. So he's been doing a lot of that stuff there, which is a great add. So a lot of those guys should have some pretty successful years next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's exciting. I'm excited to see. We got a long way until then. I know you have a lot more baseball coming up in the near future, though. You can,
we do. Yeah, we got tryouts going on. We got the state tournament. That's July. What are the dates? 8th through 12th. Out at Notre Dame, and then the Friday, Saturday at Saxony. So a lot of baseball going on, but it is kind of nearing that end. Once we kind of get through the tryout phase of things. We got a lot of kids that play football or getting ready for basketball. So our fall for some of the teams is a little bit lower than others, but we still offer some stuff that if we have baseball only kids, they can get their baseball fix in, and then I think October till Thanksgiving we're completely off from team activities. It's funny. I think we're gonna take a trip out to Arizona and go watch the Arizona Fall League. Go watch more baseball.
That's what you should do when you're time off from baseball.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I got some buddies that are coaching out there that gonna go see them. Gonna go kind of see the area and everything. And it's a place that I got to play a little bit of baseball in when I was in high school in a showcase thing and loved it. And I haven't been back since. So. Plus, Grace hasn't really traveled much farther than Springfield, so got to get her out of the state at some point.
Good idea.
So we were able to. It was either there or Oregon, and I think we're going to save Oregon for another off season and go see some my host family out there at some point. But she wanted to go to the warmer weather to start out.
It's a good idea, so, especially in the fall.
Yeah,
as we get toward winter,
and maybe the Arizona Cardinals are playing a game out there at that point. So go see. Oh God, I don't even know. They don't have Kyler Murray anymore, but go see Jeremiah Love,
go see
the St. Louis guy. Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett.
I think that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
And Carson Beck. They have Carson Beck as well.
Beck.
So
it's an ugly game.
Don't know if we're going to see good football, but we're going to maybe see some football.
See bad football, that's for sure. Yeah. Christian, quickly, what's a Steelers prediction for this year? Go.
Oh man,
how many games is Aaron Rodgers going to play? Is he going to make it?
Man, I'm glad we have Rodgers just for the simple fact that the rest of our roster is so old. It's like if we had a young guy in there, we're just going to waste a year. Now, do I think we're going to win a Super Bowl? No. Do I think we're going to make the playoffs? Barely. Just like the past 15 years of my life.
What I need the Steelers in the wild card.
Yeah, exactly.
I can set my clock to that.
Dude, that's like whatever wild card weekend is, Steelers are going to be there. They're going to be 9-8 sitting in that with the 6 seed or the 7 seed, and we're going to get shellacked by Josh Allen and the Bills.
Yeah. You're like every year I can clear. I need to clear my schedule. Look up like first week of playoffs. Okay, that's where I'll be.
Yep,
I'm free after that.
And you know what's going to be crazy though is that morning when I wake up and I put my new yellow sweatshirt on that I bought. I'm going to believe that we can win that game.
We might go on a run.
We might go on a run.
We might go on a run here.
This could be the story, but at about I don't know, probably 4:25 before the second game starts, my mindset's going to be like, man, I knew it. Like, why did we win so many games? We have a worse draft pick now. The off season's here. Like,
we really committed 2 years to a 45-year-old quarterback.
Exactly. So
drugs. In the
I know what's going to happen, but I am going to be drinking the Kool-Aid of what if, and that's about how every Sunday goes, though. So happy about 50% of the time. When they make it to an 18-game schedule, it's going to be exactly 50% of the time. We're going to go 9-9.
Yeah.
And, we switched over to Mike McCarthy, so maybe the offense can actually score now, but, the defense is probably going to be worse. So a little give, little take, right at 9-8.
Yep.
So
I like that.
9-8, or maybe if things go perfect, 10-7.
Perfect break. Yeah, go 10-7. Win a game you shouldn't. Somebody's quarterback's hurt, something like that.
Exactly. Playing Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, that'll help a lot if you get to play Jacoby Brissett. All right. Well, Christian, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck. As I'm as we're recording this. This is July 7th, so best of luck this week. A lot of baseball games, so go win some state titles, stuff like that. Yeah, go do that.
Go to the World Series in Branson. So go to Silver Dollar City,
the center of the world, Branson.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like that
Exactly.
But yeah, thank you for your time. Appreciate it as always, and yeah, best of luck here. Baseball season, and high school baseball season's a long way away, but best of luck here doing all the travel ball.
Yep. It is nonstop.
It is nonstop. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you all for listening. Always appreciate it. You can always watch Facebook, YouTube, listen anywhere you do find podcasts, things like that. And, you have a kid who wants to play baseball, go send him to this guy.
Yeah. Yep. We're on Facebook right now. What is it? I think it's still set to Aces Baseball. It'll switch over at the end of this year to USA Prime SEMO. But, you can find my page, and I'm sure it's linked somehow, or I've shared something. So if you're interested in baseball, let's get it rolling.
Yeah, let's get it going. So thank you guys as always. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.